Hello, welcome back in my channel English Conversation. In this case, I will read some part of paper with title The Ecological Crisis and Self-Delusion: Implications for the Building Sector. I will read abstract and I will read the part of rethinking about sustainability in context. After I read one paragraph, I will explain it means by in bahasa. Okay, I will start from abstract. Abstract. The world is on the brink of an unprecedented growth-related ecological crisis that could well undermine prospects for global civilization. Nevertheless, the global community seems inflamed from thinking about the implication of the threat and unwilling to contemplate the policy remedies necessary to change the course of history. Biological and cultural factors combine to inhibit clear understanding and effective corrective action. Mainstream solutions, hybrid cars, green buildings, smart growth, and new urbanism are thus rooted in denial and delusional. This approach do not address the fundamental problem of overshoot, but rather attempt to maintain the growth-bound status quo through efficiency gains and related technological fixes. This might actually worsen the situation. Achieving sustainability requires that such marginal reform give way to a complete rethinking of society's relationship with nature. Developed societies need a new, more adaptive cultural mythology. The building sector arguably has greater material leverage in reducing the human ecological footprint than any other major industrial sector. Acceptance of the guidelines developed in this paper would revolutionize the industry and reorient it geographically. The question is, does the industry have the intellectual courage and practical momentum to assume a lead role in the sustainability campaign? It means saat ini manusia sedang mengalami proses dalam penerbangan dari berpikir, yang artinya acuh terhadap krisis ekologi. Kadang kemajuan atau perbaikan teknologi dianggap menjadi jalan keluarnya krisis ekologi. Namun sejatinya, dalam makalah tersebut yang disasar ialah soal perindustrian yang harus diperbaiki terlebih dahulu. Apakah ia mau berperan dalam keberlanjutan atau tidak? That's from. Now I will read the part of rethinking sustainability in context. I am interested with this part because we must rethinking again about sustainability from the context. And this part, it relate in Vancouver and relate on Melbourne. Acknowledging our planetary plimsoline forces us to rethink the meaning and implication of sustainability. To begin, it is essential to define an ecological sustainable system as one that could continue to operate in its present state or configuration indefinitely without degrading the biophysical basic of its own existence. This seems fairly straightforward, but it's not as simple as it seems. For example, techno-industrial society is an increasingly integrated global society, a fact that has two important implications that are generally ignored in local, i.e. subglobal, sustainability discussion, including those about green buildings. There are 1. No individual country, region, city, or development project can achieve sustainability on its own if any system of which it is a part or to which it is critically connected is unsustainable. Melbourne, for example, is dependent on a global system, and if that larger system is unsustainable, then Melbourne, even if it has an exemplary track record in itself, is unsustainable. The city is at risk as a result of climate change, depleted resource, geopolitical instability, or other factors emanating from and that may overwhelm the larger system upon which it depends. In short, terms like sustainable city or sustainable building are meaningless taken out of context. And second, it follows that the best any subglobal system can attain in isolation is a state of quasi-sustainability. This describes a level economic activity and energy or material consumption per capita which, if extended to the entire system, would result in global sustainability. It means saat ini bumi berada dalam batas apung demi keselamatan manusia. Perlu dipikirkan kembali makna dan implikasi dari keberlanjutan dengan melihat dua fakta yang ada, yakni yang pertama, istilah kota berkelanjutan atau bangunan berkelanjutan tidak ada artinya sama sekali. Yang kedua, keberlanjutan global akan terjadi jika ada tingkat aktivitas energi yang terukur. I will continue the next paragraph. With these points in mind, contemplate the dreamy smoke-pulsing industrial cities of 19th century Europe with their cooking air and filthy waters. Now think of one of today's environmentally attractive cities such as Melbourne or my own hometown of Vancouver. Vancouver is renowned for its crystalline air, clean waters, ample public green spaces, and general feel-good atmosphere. But can we say that Vancouver is a sustainable city and that 19th century London was not? The answer is not as obvious as it might seem and depends entirely on context. For all their apparent dirt and grime, London and other 19th century industrial cities were arguably at least biophysically sustainable because, even the aggregate, their impact remained well below global carrying capacity. The cities were living within the means of nature and on relatively empty planet. It means penerapan keberlanjutan harus dilihat dari konteksnya, yaitu misalkan situasi zaman, sumber daya manusia, keutuhan alam ciptaannya, dan dampaknya pada dunia. Next paragraph. But circumstances have changed with the increasing scale of the human enterprise. The world is now in overshoot, or the planet's critical resource and ecosystem are being permanently degraded and dissipate even at current levels of economic activity, despite the fact that much of the human population remains in poverty. In this circumstance, grimy factory cities such as those now found in modernizing China are not sustainable. Indeed, polluting industrial cities anywhere add to the already excess burden on critical global life support function. It means, dengan bertambahnya jumlah manusia dan merebaknya perindustrian, keadaan dunia menjadi tidak berkelanjutan atau menjadi kumuh. Keadaan kota atau pabrik yang kotor tidak membawa pengaruh baik, tetapi membawa beban buruk bagi keberlanjutan. Next paragraph. Where does that leave relatively pristine Melbourne and Vancouver? Many people see such cities as icons of sustainability, but in the modern global context, this is simply wrong-headed. At best, it confuses sustainability with livability. There is no question that Vancouver and Melbourne are highly livable cities. However, they are also arguably among the least sustainable cities on Earth. The inhabitants of modern high-income cities enjoy their high-quality urban environments and material lifestyles at the cost of unconsciously imposing an enormous material burden on the rest of the Earth. Consumer cities are massive sinks for the world's resources and the ultimate resource of most of its industrial waste. This simple reality is not always obvious to their inhabitants or even professional analysts. Resources come into the city through the back door, often at night, embedded in the thousands of tons of manufactured goods and foodstuffs that seem to appear miraculously each day on thousands of store and grocery shelves. The waste generated in the production of all these goods have been left far behind at many distant points of origin. In fact, most of the pollution generated by modern Chinese factory cities is actually attributable to consumption by people living in wealthy cities half a world away. Even the detritus generated in high-income cities, household waste, excess packaging, worn-out or obsolete consumer goods, the CO2 emissions of thousands of private vehicles, etc. It dumped into the global commons, or the ocean and atmosphere, or quietly shipped hundreds of kilometers away from incineration or final disposal in overtaxed landfill sites, sometimes in other countries. It means masih terjadi salah makna antara keberlanjutan dengan kelayakan hidup. Ada fakta di mana konsumsi masyarakat dari kota penghasilan tinggi akan berdampak buruk dengan keadaan kota yang sedang berkembang. Next we go to the last paragraph. What does this mean for developed societies? High-income consumer cities consume many more resources and generate much more waste per capita than do the developing world's polluted industrial cities and have a correspondingly larger negative impact on the world's ecosystems. To reiterate, Vancouver and Melbourne are grotesquely unsustainable. They currently exceed even the quasi-sustainability standard by a factor of 4 or 5. Making their citizens more efficient consumers merely compounds the problem. It means indikator keberlanjutan tidak dilihat dari kelestarian alam ciptaan saja. Negara yang mengonsumsi lebih banyak sumber daya lebih buruk dalam hal keberlanjutan. Okay, that's it about my pronunciation and about my translate to get the meanings of each paragraph. Thank you and see you in other case.